Good morning, everybody. We're going to start our meeting with the pledge of allegiance of our superintendent Henry.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Rockingham County Commissioner meeting of November 9th. We're back to our morning meeting. The last two meetings in the afternoon. So, in attendance, we have Superintendent Henry, Allison Foskey, Coyle, Layla, Judy Gates, Chuck Nickerson, and myself, Brian Chichello. On Zoom land, we have Sheriff's Department. That's Chief Deputy Sawyer, I believe. We've got Kathy Stacy. We got Jason Smith, fresh back from Chicago. Robin Bernier, and we've got, it says Wes's iPad. I would imagine that's either a vendor or a public. So Wes's iPad, did you want to identify yourself and who you're with? If you want a phone, I believe it's *6 or *9. Unmute.
Not necessary that they identify itself, it's a public meeting.
Understood. We're just giving an opportunity to see if they okay. So let's go on to RFP open.
I move, so the first opening we have is with respect to the automatic transfer switch replacement, and I move to authorize the Senior Director of Facilities Planning and IT to review, evaluate the proposals and return with the recommendations.
Second. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? None on the motion. Well,
Yes.
Commissioner Godu?
Yes.
Yes. Bidding on surplus vehicle.
I move to authorize the Senior Director of Facilities Planning and IT to review, evaluate the proposals and return with the recommendations.
Second. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none on the motion. Commissioner Godu?
Yes.
Commissioner Coyle?
Yes.
I vote yes. Legal services. Civil matter.
We have one of the openings, there's one actual opening, so okay.
You're on camera.
Yeah. With respect to award for legal services, I move to award the proposal for legal services for civil matters to Stevenson, Green, PA, and Ransmeyer and Spellman, PCS at the stated rates and fees for the period of November 1st, 2023 through October 31st, 2026.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion?
I just wonder about, because I know in this instance we didn't have many bids, that do we want to sign up for a full freezer contract?
That what we've done in the past years? Yeah. I mean, I'll let others speak.
I would be okay with having a shorter period of time, but it seems, one of my concerns is that these are the only two companies that seem to be interested in working with us. I don't know. Nobody else has even bid or seems to have any interest. And we haven't had any problem with these two firms, so it's not like that there's a problem here. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean, I just feel like because we haven't, I'd be more inclined to a shorter contract portion for now due to the, just because there were so few bidders. Anyway.
So, I'm sorry.
I'm probably going to abstain from this vote anyway, because my firm has had someone case with one of the firms here, so that's open and active right now. So.
I guess the way I kind of see it is we did go above and beyond, actually even posted in the bars newsletter.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it is what it is. What I do like about it is, you know, for budgeting purposes, next 3 years, at least we know what the numbers are. You know, so I'm willing to go with the 3, but I'm willing, if you guys want to shorten it, I'm going to do that too, but I don't know if that's really going to make a huge difference. You know, walking in the rates could be okay too.
I like the idea of locking in the rates, and I'm unfortunate. I would like to see more competition and more variety, but we we weren't able to attract it, and these two firms are good.
Yeah.
So, I just vote for 3 years.
Okay, so the motion's been made, and we had discussion, any further discussion? If not, on the motion, Commissioner Godu,
Yes,
Commissioner Coyle,
I'm
you're
abstaining.
abstaining, and I will vote yes. Okay, so let's go to the generator testing inspections.
I move to award the proposal for generator testing and inspection to Tri-State Generator for an annual cost of $3,350 and for the stated rates for other work as may be assigned for the period of November 1st, 2023 through October 31st, 2026, as recommended by the Senior Director of Facilities Planning and IT.
Second motion's been made and seconded, any discussion on the motion? If not, on the motion, Commissioner Godu,
yes,
Commissioner Coyle,
Yes.
yes.
Thank you.
Award vehicles for facility operations.
I move to award the proposal for facilities operations vehicle, a 2024 Ford F-250 Super Duty with plow to Laconia Automotive Group for an amount not to exceed $55,539, and further authorize the Senior Director of Finance to seek appropriate financing as recommended by the Senior Director of Facilities Planning and IT.
second,
Motion's been made and seconded, discussion.
As
Commissioner
we've
Coyle,
seen, it's all the most economical vehicle, the most bang for the buck compared to.
We've had good luck with Griphone in the past as well. Yeah, they're very competitive generally.
Yeah,
we're buying this off a lot. It's not like a. custom
No, it's an
made.
order,
Is there any delays? No.
spring. They're talking spring before it'll be available. I think we went through the same thing last year.
Okay. Further discussion? Not on motion, Commissioner Coyle,
yes.
Commissioner Godu?
yes,
Yes, the award for WWT electrical upgrades.
I move to award the proposal for wastewater treatment plant electrical upgrades for Richardson Engineering for an amount not to exceed $28,650, as recommended by the Senior Director of Facilities Planning and Management.
Second. Motion been made and seconded. Any discussion?
This is
Coyle,
part of the ARPA project, just for ARPA upgrades. And we have 2 bids and they were pretty competitive, just one being slightly more competitive. So confident.
further discussion? Not on motion, Commissioner Godu?
yes,
Commissioner Coyle?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Excuse me, no more 60-pound water and dates.
I move to award the proposal for no more 60-pound washer and base to Yankee Equipment Systems LLC for an amount not to exceed $18,730 as recommended by the Senior Director of Long-Term Care Services.
second,
Motion been made and seconded. Any discussion?
Jason,
Well-
how many bids did we get on this? I didn't.
2 bids.
Okay. And how did,
The other bid was slightly higher, roughly $1,000 more.
oh, yes, I see that. Sorry. My apologies. You did put that in. Thanks.
We do, and the lower bidder that we received, we have had ongoing relationship with them in the past.
Great.
On the motion, Commissioner Coyle?
Yes.
Commissioner Godu?
yes,
Yes. Award for the Smith and Wesson M&P9.
I move to award the proposal for Smith and Wesson M&P9 to Firing Line Incorporated for an amount not to exceed $35,852 as recommended.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Coyle?
Question, why are we moving, what's prompted the move to Smith and Wesson from Sig Sauer?
I'm gonna let my chief firearms instructor fill you guys in about what's been going on with these guns. So go
Oh,
ahead.
yeah.
So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Chief Firearms Instructor Deputy Richard Wilshire, the one that's been dealing with the weapons. So the reason we're going to this change is the original weapons we have. We are at a currently 60% failure rate on these weapons. They're under 2 years old. We haven't been able to get that corrected, so we started testing different weapon systems, both with SIG, Smith and Wesson. We did look at Glocks, but Glocks are too much of a change in price and the use of all the weapons. The Smith and Wesson M&P9 was really the best fit for the agency for both the functionality and the price range that we're at.
Okay. And then, can you explain, I was looking at, I just don't know what this is. It says Holosun red, solar red dots on the Atlantic Tactical. So I just,
So
wasn't sure. I'm sorry.
The red dot systems are a sight system that pretty much law enforcement across the board are actually moving to. It's a red dot system that mounts on the top of the weapon. It is something that's a great tool to be able to have more accurate shooting, better shooting all around with it. So it's something that nationally law enforcement is going to across the board. We haven't had them in the past. So it is something new, but we looked at the amount that we can get them for, because we're getting a really good deal on the cost of all of these right now. So that's why we looked at this would be the time to make that change to match all the other law enforcement agencies across the board.
And we did our homework on these guns too, because there were two options for these guns and, we actually, picked this option that we have right here. So I mean, it's a phenomenal gun and that red dot is like, it's the way to go.
It's a
Okay,
game changer.
Oh, yeah, big time.
I would just say the jail we moved last year over to having the red dot system basically on all our stuff. It is a much easier system for the staff to use to shoot. And everybody's changing over to us. The jail, when we switched our guns last year, also went to that same technology. Everybody's moving to.
Did you switch to Smith and Wesson?
No, we trained our SIGs in state of SIG.
Okay,
okay, thank you for the clarification to,
further questions? I just have one question. How many are we replacing? We replacing anybody's weapon?
Yeah,
Yes, the entire line of weapons for the pistols.
and then why are we going, but we're gaining 9 more?
Yes, because we're anticipating, we are not fully staffed, excuse me, we're not fully staffed with our bailiffs right now. And when we are fully staffed with the bailiffs as well, it actually only leaves me one weapon in the arms room for a spare weapon. The reason we need a spare weapon is when I do my inspections and maintenance every year on them, I usually go out because they're on the road and I'll take 3 or 4 off of the road and give them a spare, but I don't have that. So that's why we were looking at plussing those numbers up to what we really need to be able to have in the entire staff.
Makes sense, thank you, thank you,
All right, on the motion, Commissioner Godu,
Yes,
Commissioner Coyle.
yes.
I vote yes. All right, moving on to consent agenda.
I move to approve the November 2nd, 2023 public and non-public meeting minutes.
Second,
second,
motion's been made and seconded. Is there any additions, subtractions, errors, anything like that?
No,
no,
Okay, so
Thank
on
you.
the motion,
Thank you,
Commissioner
Leila.
Coyle,
yes.
Commissioner Godu,
yes,
I vote yes. Payroll,
I move to approve the payroll expense in the amount of $1,341,563.77 for the period ending November 4th, 2023.
second,
motion's been made and seconded. On the motion, Commissioner
I
Coyle.
was just gonna say,
Oh, you have
yes,
a question?
I was just gonna comment that we are staying very consistent with our numbers for the past month plus. So just our payrolls for the past few periods have been very consistent. So,
On the motion, Commissioner Godu,
yes,
Commissioner Coyle.
yes.
All right, we're on reports. I'm gonna let Commissioner Godu go first.
I have nothing to report today, thank you.
Commissioner Coyle.
Good morning. So over at the jail, well, we have Superintendent Henry in the house, which is always a nice change of pace. He's in the house. Things are moving along well. It's still no COVID. The population has maintained at 164 for now 2 weeks in a row. And projects are ongoing, but things are moving along well. And we are and onward and upward. Over in long-term care, welcome back, Jason. Jason was at the Leading Age Conference with a few other members from long-term care. That's a great conference to just get a lot of ideas of what's happening nationally. That conference was held in Chicago. And it's a great way to get sort of a national perspective of different trends and movements. So happy about that. Exciting news on the opioid payout. As it relates to finance, there's going to be a payout and Rockingham County is slated to receive $2 million in opioid abatement funds. So as we can start, I think it's about time or getting ready to reconvene we haven't had an opioid abatement meeting in a while. I think it might make sense to schedule that sooner than later so we can start talking about what opportunities. I think one of the things that I see everywhere is housing issues, and maybe we should start talking about more realistically about transitional housing, things like that, because that would be a great use of funds that we could carry for the future, so. To be continued for a meeting, so I would encourage us to convene an opioid abatement committee meeting soon.
Okay, and I'm gonna let my department heads do their updates. You stole my thunder on the opioids because I did receive an email from Janet Stevens saying that they had voted 2 million of the 2.4 that was requested. So we didn't get everything we wanted, but they're 2 million, which is great.
And they did, there was an article in the paper yesterday,
Nice. Nice.
about it, that it ordered on for MAT and some of the money went to
Yeah.
you guys.
Great, thank
Thank
thank you.
And the second thing I have is congratulations to the sheriff's department. They received the grant award, and I know that when the time comes for the sheriff, they'll touch on that. So congratulations to them for receiving an award as well. So with that, so
Inmate administrative transfer.
yes,
I move to approve an inmate administrative transfer dated November 6, 2023, transferring one inmate to Stratford County Department of Corrections and one inmate to Hillsborough County Department of Corrections pursuant to New Hampshire RSA 30-B:21 as recommended by the superintendent.
Second.
motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Not on the motion, Commissioner Toya.
Yes,
Commissioner Godu?
Yes.
I vote yes. Travel and training request.
I move to approve a travel and training request for a Department of Corrections employee LW to attend the Coalition on Adult Basic Education National Conference held March 17th through 20th, 2024 in Nashville, Tennessee at an estimated total cost of $2,460 as recommended by the superintendent of the Department of Corrections.
Second motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, on the motion, Commissioner Godu?
Yes.
Commissioner Coyle?
Yes.
I vote yes. Body scan. RFP.
So this is just the start of a discussion.
Yes.
Yeah, so we need to pull that committee back together to be helpful, but.
Yeah.
Just looking for a consensus so I can start writing an RFP, looking at a body scanner. I'm still come to you guys and all that kind of stuff. So just the one we have is older technology that Bureau of Prisons is removing all 120 of theirs of the same one that we have. Because I can go to all semantics. I would
Outdated technology.
outdated technology, the beams come up instead of straight across, so it's a distorted picture. The old ones actually move people through on a platform that moves, which actually they found distorts the picture. New ones don't have all that, they're different now, and a much better picture. That's the small portion of it. But I would like to start working with this a little bit to put together an RFP. I know I'll bring it to the our opioid committee to get them to vote as well, and I'd just like you'll start working on it.
So Jason, you're anticipating this would be funded through the.
Opioid abatement.
Okay, okay. I was gonna ask, did we have it in the budget? But
No,
we don't.
What is the price point for, what's the?
they're coming down price, I guess. The one we got years ago was about 300,000. These are about 150 to, they're under $200,000 now. They've really come down in price. And technology, obviously, in the past 8-10 years, just skyrocketed of what it can do compared to that.
Right.
It's like price.
What do we do with the old one?
I have some
We
ideas.
sell it?
Scrap metal.
I have some ideas with that, which I probably want to talk to you guys non-public about that at some point.
Oh, good.
That's great. Well, I
Uh,
think this is another reason to get the opioid
Yeah.
abatement committee reconvened so that. we can start.
If you don't all mind too, you get the opioid committee back up, it would be nice to have like a list of what departments would be thinking, would be, where they want to spend that money, sort of like a plan as to, what we could spend that money on, and then we can look at it and
Well,
prioritize.
what we've been doing is the committee's been meeting and voting to make recommendations to the Board of Commissioners. So that is everybody, I think, anybody with sort of a vested interest, county attorney's office, sheriff's department, Department of Corrections. Everybody have been attending there's usually one representative attending the meetings, and then the group discusses an issue, votes to make a recommendation on a particular item to the board, and then.
And we'll make sure to get we'll get the criteria back out to all department heads again, what they
Yeah.
can use the money for.
Yeah, perfect. I
And
just
then-
want to see what people are interested in purchasing, that's all.
Yep.
But that would be good. That's outside of the bodies, obviously the body scan.
Yeah, there's 14 different categories that they can use it for and multiple different departments can use it. So we invite everybody to there
Yes.
and sometimes we help each other out in that committee too, because some people don't realize, oh, hey, if you use this for that kind of money.
All right, right.
So helping each other out
Yeah,
has been good in that
Okay.
committee.
All right, excellent.
So just quickly, we did put together a fill-in form even, and it lists all 14 categories. And it listed as if it's a request to the commissioners,
Right,
so that can be circulated around
All
the
right, perfect.
departments
That
to
works.
have as well.
all right.
Rather than trying to look up the RSA. and-
Yeah.
Further discussion? Okay, all right, so I think we're good with that. Let's go to facilities operation. The bid waiver.
Yep. I move to amend the October 12th, 2023 bid waiver vendor to Power Plus International for an amount not to exceed 13,000 as recommended by the Senior Director of Facilities Planning and IT.
Second,
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion?
Well,
Commissioner Foil?
it's going to be beneficial because ultimately we're going to get a product faster for less money than our original bid. So, I think sometimes life just works out.
Very good.
Put that in the-
Right.
Further discussion? If not, on the motion, Commissioner Coyle,
Yes,
Commissioner Godu?
yes,
I vote yes.
Thank you.
Let's go to finance office, the Moose Plate Grant Acceptance and Agreement.
I move to accept the award of the 23-24 New Hampshire State Library News Plate Grant in the amount of $9,697 and authorize the chair to sign all necessary documents as recommended by the Senior Director of Finance.
second,
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion there?
Just thanks to Emily and
And
to
Robin.
Robin.
worked on it too.
thank you to them for their efforts. It's nice that we're doing our part to preserve history with using these Moose Plate grants to preserve records. And I think that's pretty a wonderful thing. So thank you.
So I've said it before, but I think that Myron Emily was really great. I mean, just seeing the progress that she's accomplished in a small amount of time versus previously is a real good hire. So
Yeah.
kudos to her. So, all right, so on the motion, Commissioner Godu,
yes,
Commissioner Fred,
Yes,
I vote yes. Human resource revised facility use policy.
I move to approve the revised facility use policy and license agreement form as recommended by the Senior Director of Human Resources and the Senior Director of Long-Term Care Services.
second,
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Commissioner Godu?
yes. There's a line in the agreement that says that there will be no charge to nonprofit and civic organizations. Allison, maybe you can identify where that line is for me. I don't have the document right in front of me. I think that should be struck from the agreement. Civic organization is way too broad a description to automatically say that we're not gonna charge for the facility. It is. There'd be everybody that would come in would say that they're a civic organization. That's the first thing. And the other one, to say nonprofit, I think that's a little bit too vague. If we were going to extend that to all 501c3 charitable organizations, that would be a little bit more specific, but I would tend to just strike that whole line and make it strictly on an approval basis by the commissioners. If we see an organization that comes in here, which we have so far, everybody, that we don't want to charge, that we think that we should be a little bit more charitable, then we should vote on that and rather than have it in the statement that they're not going to have to pay ever.
Yeah, that's under, that's under cost, and you had already previously approved that.
Right.
That was not language that I had changed, that we had talked about. So if
That's
that's a
right.
difference, that's okay. We'll certainly take that up.
But
I'll leave it to the discretion of the board.
Commissioner Coyle?
I think, I hear what you're saying, in terms of just blanket, but I think I would prefer to put some language in to. Because the idea is that deference will be given to civic and nonprofit organizations to waive the fees. That still leaves a little discretion, but it's a primer for all of us that the idea is that we are, in terms of. Because that we don't want to charge some nonprofits or some. I don't want a situation where it's looking, where we have a perception of favoritism or anything like of that nature. I think if we put some language in, are not, and I see what you're saying, which is,
Nobody will ever get charged based on the language that's in there,
Well,
pretty much.
yeah, I mean, the reality is, how many organizations are really utilizing the space, right? They're mostly nonprofit organizations that don't have access to, I mean, this isn't necessarily people's number one choice. They're really small organizations or small nonprofits that don't have, you know, huge revenue sources and are looking to find meeting spaces that can, you know, they don't have their own separate space, things like that. I would like to still put in some language so it's, so as not to discourage what, or, you know, some of these organizations who may not have the money to pay for these fees, that they won't be discouraged or from trying to use the facility, because our goal is to help our community members. So I would like to structure some language that it's a primer that says, listen, I mean, I don't care if it's not, you know, absolute, but that we prime others that we're giving some deference to them, or will, you know, consider waiving upon application or request.
Upon approval, the commissioners may waive the fee.
Let me chime in so a little bit, in the conversation. So I actually agree with Commissioner Godu on this. I thought originally the idea was that the application would come in front of the commission and we would either waive or not waive. They would have to request it. But you get Commissioner Coyle recommendation of changing the wording. I'm okay with taking a look if we can do that. So I think maybe what we should do is, if we want to go down that route, to table, and then we put it back on, we want to find some different language.
Why don't we just work on this? We're right here, right now. I think that, one, I appreciate you know, Jason, Allison, and Leila, who got together and really worked through all of the details on this, on this use agreement form to make sure it was nice and tight. And so thank you for your efforts. I think we're right here, right now. Let's take a few minutes, and what we're addressing is one sentence. Civic and nonprofits are not subject to fee. So why don't we say something, if we want to say civic and nonprofit organizations may request waiver of the fee.
By the Board of Commissioners.
Yeah. That's fine. Something
Okay
so
with that?
I'm okay with that, sure.
Okay.
it's just like,
As long as it puts it in our hands and not just an automatic.
again, all of these things, it's like, what I don't want to have happen through the course of this is the politicizing fees and things like that of the board. So I trust I'm bringing it, I mean, because although it's us now, and I trust that everybody here is going to do the right thing, different boards, the tenor of the board changes with every turn. So be it in the ether for everyone that the objective is not to make this a, political decision, but rather it's to make sure the nonprofits that truly need this are gonna get the support to have the fee waived, and that if there are organizations that can support paying the fee, it will help defray the cost to the county by offering this.
Allison, wanted to chime in too.
Yeah, no, I just on the license agreement form, we already have $75 room fee waived, yes or no, but we have like a small statement underneath that civic and nonprofits would be not subject, so we'll take that out, but you will have that waiver, room fee there, and
Yeah.
then, yes, we can make that change in the cost line right there, we'll make that change to that language.
Because I also feel that when the new building comes online and we have the auditorium, we're gonna get more requests to use that room. So
Well,
I just want to make sure that
I
because I sort of agree with Commissioner Godu that civic organization is kind of wide open. But as long as the commissioners, and I can understand Commissioner Coyle's concern, we don't want, and I don't think anyone's intent is to politicize that.
No.
Not at all.
I agree.
But I do believe that the control should be with the three commissioners.
But I assume when the new building comes, we're gonna craft a different facilities use agreement for, this is the agreement for the Hilton. Which is, when we move next door, we're probably gonna have, I mean, there's gonna be different costs, different analysis for use of the space. It's a much larger space. So we need to consider, bigger groups could come in there. There could be, I assume that the fee is going to be larger for use and things like that because the care of the space
Right.
is gonna change.
Okay, so I think we're on the same
So-
page now, so.
So can we agree on exactly what that language
Read it back to us,
would be?
Allison. Oh,
It's,
I think it was civic and nonprofit groups may request waiver of room fee or whatever you want by the Board of Commissioners. Do you want to say
Yeah.
room fee?
Yeah,
Yeah, room fee.
all right, so with those, recommended changes on the motion, Commissioner Coyle,
yes,
Commissioner Godu?
yes.
And I vote yes. Okay. Let's see. We're at the holiday schedules. Holidays already.
Get me ready.
snow.
Snows are coming.
They're already calling me. What's the calendar?
Oh,
So I need a motion on,
I move to approve the Rockingham County twenty twenty-four holiday schedule in the Rockingham County twenty twenty-four holiday schedule for county attorneys and registry of deeds as recommended by the Senior Director of Human Resources.
Second,
motion's been made and seconded, any
No.
discussion? And if not on the motion, Commissioner Coyle,
Yes,
Commissioner Godu?
yes.
And I'm a yes. We know, revised job.
I move to have Superintendent Henry's part grow 3 sizes bigger.
Second,
All those in favor? With respect to the job description for the Department of Corrections, I move to approve a revised job description for adult diversion coordinator effective November 9th, 2023, as recommended by the Senior Director of Human Resources.
Second,
Motion to be made and seconded, is there any discussion? Not on the motion, Commissioner Godu?
yes.
Commissioner Coyle?
Yes,
I will vote yes. Travel and training request.
I move to approve a travel and training request for a Human Resources employee AN to attend the ERE Recruiting Conference held May 15th through 17th, 2024 in Austin, Texas, at an estimated total cost of $2,970.88 as recommended by the Senior Director of Human Resources.
Second,
Motion's been made and seconded, discussion.
I think she'll be a good person to, I feel very confident she'll come back with lots of
Boots,
boots. No,
sex and food.
no, lots of information and new ideas as we've seen all along in this position.
On the motion, Commissioner Godu?
yes.
Commissioner Coyle?
Yes,
I vote yes. Long-term care services, adult medical daycare, redistribution of allocated funds.
I move to approve the redistribution of $25,000 of budgeted funds for senior class adult medical daycare to Easter Seals as recommended by the Senior Director of Long-Term Care Services.
Second,
Motion been made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I don't know if people may have seen in the newspaper today, there was a story about how these, or yesterday, that these adult medical daycare facilities, I think they're all affiliated with adult daycare. There's a broader organization that has closed, and as a result, they're closing a number of these, including senior class. Fortunately, what we've seen is Easter Seals has really, they changed their program from the half-day program to a full-day program. And as a result, they've gotten a number of more people going there and utilizing their services. And I think, given how we've seen, I mean, through COVID, we've just seen organization after organization close, that we need to do everything we can to support Easter Seals and Silverthorne last ending. So.
Any further discussion? So I just wanna bring something up, if you don't mind, real quick. So senior class, the money that was allocated for senior class is now gonna go to Easter Seals, correct? And I want to say 2 meetings ago, maybe 3 meetings ago, there was a motion, I was against it. We took $5,000 from Silverthorne at Salem. And we removed 5,000 from them. to give to Easter Seal. So if, what I would like to see is that 5,000 go back to Silverthorne. Because it was budgeted for them, if we're gonna give, senior class, all that senior class budget to Easter Seal, so that's what I would like to see. And, I would like to make a motion to do that, if anyone would care to second that.
Second,
So is that okay? Chuck, did you follow? You follow what we did?
So you have a motion, I think, on the.
So there's a motion on.
I amended it,
So-
I amended the motion,
So you
by,
seconded the amendment to the motion
Right.
for discussion.
yeah, so we're on the amendments.
Well, the motion was, the second was for the discussion on the amendment.
so let's discuss
Let's
this.
discuss it. Okay, yeah, who wants to go first?
I'll start out. I think this is like to me, it's a non-issue because it's just an accounting. We're not really giving the money to either of the organizations. We're just putting it in a slot so that they know that there's gonna be adequate money for people when they go to request. We have to approve all the requests anyways.
Exactly.
I guess from the standpoint of, Silverthorne not feeling that they have some disadvantage, we can put it back in there, but we'll switch it around as soon as we get a request that contradicts what we've done right here. I mean, Easter Seals is the one that keeps giving us, opportunities to help, these people that need adult daycare, right? I mean, they're the ones, that's the way I see it. They're giving us more opportunity to help our residents. So that's where the money's gonna go. I mean, I don't know why Silverthorne has not offered us more opportunity to.
So historically,
they're not.
they will use the money essentially. They don't typically leave the money in budget. All of these adult daycares, hold on a second. So my concern was that motion was made a couple weeks ago. And I had brought up the fact that I didn't like the fact that we were taking 5,000 out of that line from them without their knowledge. Okay, and that's where my concern was, and that was the reason why I did not vote to approve that. Unfortunately, I came up short, and that's the way democracy works. I voted, so I just think now the playing field is a little bit different. Might as well put that 5,000 back to Silverthorne. And yeah, true, things can change again, but I just think that that's sort of the right move for me. And reestablish that 5,000 to Silverthorne, and then give the 25,000 to Easter Seal. That's fine.
Well,
20.
20.
I'm sorry.
Matt.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Commissioner Godu, I think you articulated it perfectly, was how I feel. It doesn't matter. It just,
Okay, so
it's on paper.
right, so let's vote on the amendment, which the amendment's going to put the 5,000 back to Silverthorne. And then,
I mean,
To redistribute the line items, right? That's what the amendment really does.
so I'm just gonna. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'll reword the motion just for this, okay?
well, hold on, because we're on the amendment. The amendment's been there, it's been seconded, so we need to vote on it. I don't want to reword anything. The amendment's on the table, so let's vote on the amendment. So on the amendment, Commissioner Foil,
Sure, yes, that's fine.
Commissioner Godu,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Now, on the underlying motion, do you want to discuss the underlying motion?
No, I was just going to reword the motion in total because now we have to reword this motion to say 20,000.
Yeah,
So
That's,
what,
we'll have to just make that motion.
well, that's why I was just. Doing it. So
You gotta follow the Robert's rules, but go ahead.
running the motion, sir.
Okay, so to approve the motion is to approve the redistribution of 20,000.
No, still 25.
Yeah, so
I'm
we have to
changing the
vote on
motion.
that.
I can make my.
So don't we have to vote on that
So
first?
you're right.
Because that motion.
So
was-
let's vote on the original motion of 25. So on the original motion, Commissioner Foil,
So no,
Commissioner Godu,
No.
and I vote no. So
Okay.
now a new motion will be to approve the district redistribution of 20,000 budgeted funds for senior class and adult medical daycare to Easter Seals as recommended by the Senior Director of Long-Term Care Services.
second,
Seconded.
Second. I like
What
to
discussion?
amend that motion to also add 25,000 to, Silverthorne.
We did that through the.
Oh, is that what we did before? All right,
This is why I was gonna make one motion. Okay,
Well,
it would, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
okay, so yes, it's been seconded.
okay,
I vote yes.
and Commissioner Godu?
yes.
And I vote yes. So it's 20. Perfect. All right,
That was perfection.
department head updates. Politics is ugly sometimes, but I think we put it the right way. So, I'm gonna go with Jason. Usually I don't make him go first.
Humbug. Oh, that's my report.
All right, thank you.
Moving on. No, a lot of projects, our unit that's been closed is a lot closer to getting done. Working on the grinding the floors and a few other things, so that's going well. We have some coils being replaced soon for the heat. So Jude's department's been doing a lot of work. Evans is now back from vacation, doing a lot of work on the unit as well. So a lot of those projects moving forward. Yes, it is getting holiday season, so we are doing some fun stuff for staff. I've also reached out to Jason Smith. I'm gonna be working with him a little bit. Pre-pandemic, the jail used to do, funny as it sounds, make popcorn and bring it over to the jail and give it out to staff by using the popcorn machines that are over here. So we're gonna try to get back to that. Something small, it doesn't really cost that much, but just, appreciation, maybe do it once a month and give it out to staff. It's just, so we're gonna try to get back to some of the things that we were doing in the past. And beyond that, things are going fine.
I just want to highlight this is just one more example of the way our departments sort of work together and help each other out. Our collective is so powerful, and it's like, Jason Smith has a popcorn machine and we can use it to make some popcorn and help with just retention. Or, the sheriff's department, Department of Corrections working together with some of the hospital details, things like that. I mean, it really is like, thank you to you, everybody, for your efforts to try to help each other out. Because it really does make a big difference in the overall impact. And because we have so much, by working together, it's like, it's not increasing cost to the, our taxpayers. So thanks.
I just want to know if we provide melted butter on the popcorn.
Nobody does that. It's something else. Not butter.
We have to go,
Actually,
actually,
Jill.
no butter, no salt, I'll be healthy.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
good.
Forget about it.
Hydrogenated oils.
All right,
Wow.
all right, thank you, Jason. We're gonna go to Allison.
Hi, morning. So the big news is scarecrows. We have a winner
Oh.
and I have to say, it's not us.
HR. Oh,
It's not us. I'm happy to say they're passing the
Yeah.
torch. It is environmental services.
Oh.
They came in as first place and
nice. They
second
won
was
us all.
facilities, HR was third, and so on and so forth. But we have one, so I'll be working with that department to acknowledge
Okay.
them. I do want to thank facilities for the staffing, for placing them up and then taking them down. It's a lot of work. I also just wanted to let the Division of Registers know, and I sent out an email early this morning that the Board of Commissioners kind of acknowledgement for the Thanksgiving holiday has gone out to the different departments. They have, I want to thank the Sheriff's Office for coming through this morning. They're going to deliver deeds and county attorneys and the sheriffs. And Elaine, Chuck's assistant, and Andrea, Jason Smith's assistant, was over in Chocolate Heaven at HR yesterday, going through and sorting all the boxes of chocolates. So those are
Taste
going
testing
out.
those too?
I would have loved to, but no, that didn't happen. So just the scent was enough for me. It was really great. So we completed our years of service in the NHAC awards recipient events. Thank you to the commissioners for that. I got a lot of feedback. Those that attended just were very, very humbled by it. And they really appreciated the time to be able to celebrate. Outstanding evaluation listings have gone out to all the ODDs. We are going to have any December evaluations in prior to the end of December, just because of conversion stuff that we're doing. That list has gone out to everybody. So if you could please adhere to that, it's just going to help us and the payroll department process sales before year end. Our essential and non-essential staff listings have gone out to the ODDs and are back for our weather emergencies, which I hope will be minimal this year. these fingers crossed. We have notification letters that are going out to all staff this afternoon. That is just the announcement of the quarter hour increment that is occurring. All those letters have been done and those will go out to all staff and those are going out in direct mail for them. And I think we're preparing for the holiday December, and I think that is all I have. It's been very busy, but a lot of fun doing some of these activities, and I appreciate everybody's help. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jason, are you, bah humbug because King Henry didn't win?
They did a really good job, so.
They did.
The real question is, what place did Jason Henry?
I will not say or disclose.
Okay. All right. All right,
Again,
gonna go to Chuck Nicholson.
As was mentioned, we did get official word for, Governor Council that we did get our $2 million plus. As far as, yes, our initial request was 2.4 million, but it wasn't just our county that had our request reduced the actual word, all the other counties in some way, shape or form had a reduction amount. I don't know if there was a target amount that the committee or commission wanted, they bring it down.
No, they pulled out the administrative type fees that they felt didn't belong part of it. So anybody, whatever portion they had to put in that, they cut down.
Even though those admin salaries are still dedicated time towards the programs, but okay.
Hey, $2 million is nothing to sneeze at.
No, it basically like doubles or more than doubles what we actually have in that, or will have in that special revenue fund.
Yeah.
We're still waiting word on what's happening with like the other like 7 settlements or whatever. Hopefully they'll be, or 4 bigger ones anyways, that'll be hopefully determined soon. There's some delays in the finalization of those coming out. Obviously the one that's the big unknown whenever that's gonna happen is the Purdue Sacker family one that. So since that got rejected. Very busy, some folks in the office with that, the continuing UKG prone dimensions conversion. Working through some things with that. Ben is away this week, as Julie is over at the UKG Inspire conference. So I'm sure they'll bring back some good insights. I know that Ben likes to pick the brains of all the UKG support people there to try to bounce more, things outside the box for some solutions. So he usually does very well out there, bring stuff back to us for payroll processing. Again, good news with the grants. Thank you as far as for the loose plate grant. This, we're gonna start getting some of the commissioner's office records actually up. And I think the goal too is get some of this online, which obviously is, especially in the case of like inmate, records or just names or whatever. As far as the genealogists like to have some of that information too. So we're gonna make a push more so to make this more accessible to the public.
Excellent.
So, but overall, as usual, busy.
All right, thank
All right,
you.
thank you.
Chuck. I'm gonna go to Judy Gates.
Good morning.
Morning.
All's well in facilities. Robin is actually working on a website for the historical stuff. And Mrs. Northrop up the road here that we ended up getting the easement from gave us a CD that goes back to the 40s. Actually, I think it was a DVD and Robin had to have it converted, but she gave us permission to put it out on the website when it's ready. And it's really fascinating stuff, sheep shearing and the lumber from the Ladd farm is what was used to build the 2 houses over there.
Okay.
It's still like, if you like historical stuff,
Yeah.
it's really cool. So Robin's pulling all of that together in addition to getting the books online. She gets a lot of calls actually for the genealogy stuff, looking for information about the cemetery and stuff like that. It's kind of fascinating.
Yeah, that is nice.
So that's that. We are working on, we're very excited to have that 2 bundle replacement scheduled for Monday. We think we have everything in place, all the people, all the players.
Fingers crossed.
Sorry,
So I could you tell that.
we've issued a purchase order for the card readers in the admin area. Yes, we're excited to be going forward with that. In addition, they're gonna pick up a door on Driscoll too that we've been having an issue with for long-term care. We're still working on the dishwasher. We're closing in on it. It's
Wow.
getting close. It's in place. There's just, some ductwork that needs to be taken care of, a few more tie-ins, but the staff is really chomping at the bit to be able to use it. So,
So quick question on the dishwasher, obviously, I would imagine the manufacturer warranties that, it's,
yes,
I mean, this is kind of a bigger job than we sort of anticipated.
It's
although
huge.
we needed to get it done,
right,
no doubt.
Yep.
Or is there a warranty on that?
absolutely, yeah, and it's,
You know what that was?
I don't,
All right, no
I
worries.
don't. Hobart, their equipment really in general is very solid. We have very few issues with them. They're responsive when there's anything
Yeah.
going on. It's a fine piece of equipment by all estimations, so I don't know specifically what the warranty is, but I'm sure Elaine could let us know.
Yeah, no biggie, I just thought of,
They've come out a couple times. They came out this week and met with us. They're standing behind it even though they haven't turned it on yet, so.
Yeah.
So far, so good.
Okay,
I mean, we're busy with a lot of different stuff. The building is progressing very nicely. We're getting ready to start the testing for the 4 abutters. And the well testing probably, late November, potentially the first week of December, depending on how things fall together
So
with
do we have to
DES.
test quarterly, or is it once a year, or maybe twice a year?
This particular test, they're gonna run it for, the well number 4, they're gonna run it for 5 days, 150 gallons a minute. For 5 days, and then what we'll be testing the abutters for, I mean, they'll disinfect before and after, but essentially they're testing to make sure that their wells are not affected by our draw.
Right,
And at the same time, they'll be checking to see how it affects well number 2, which is the other, well number 3, which is the other well we'll be keeping online, just to see how they kind of work with each
and
other.
there's no, for the abutter, there's no dug wells, right? They're all
There's one
drilled?
dug well.
There is one dug well?
There is one dug well, but the thinking is that where our well number 4 is, it's gravel packed, but it's below a thick clay layer.
Right, okay,
So the thinking is that we're not in the same aquifer at all, but it remains to be seen until the test is
dug
done.
wells get me kind of concerned.
Yeah,
That's like,
But their neighbor has a drilled well and it's 520 feet.
oh, that's,
So it's like, it's kind of like,
yeah, that's not, nothing.
it's amazing to me. So,
Okay,
Oh, how, that's unbelievable.
right? I can't, I said to the woman, how long did it take? Like, it must have, it must have been so nerve wracking for them when it was being done.
How many feet?
526.
Can you imagine?
Wow.
That's like.
I never heard of such a thing.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
my worst nightmare.
Right? So, that's about it, I
Water
think.
must
We're
be good
working
down
with,
there.
Jason and Glendale to try and put together a composting project, due in small part or large part perhaps to Commissioner Godus. Shifting us away from the styrofoams, because now all of the packaging is compostable, so we're hoping to kind of feed into that. It's gonna start with the food waste in dietary in the kitchen itself. We'll just have to see how it goes. We looked
Yeah.
at it a few years ago, but we're getting ready to, Glendale's pulled together some information. Jason and I are gonna meet with them next week and
okay,
see if we can put that together.
very good.
That's about it.
All right, thanks,
Thank
Chief.
you.
I'm gonna go to the sheriff's department, Sheriff DeSantis.
Good morning. Nothing new to report. I know the major, the chief deputy had a meeting with Jason Henry that went very well. That's about it. Just continue to be busy. I'm not gonna jinx myself on hospital details. I'm gonna knock on wood right now. You know,
So, okay.
the only other question I have is, Jason Henry. When you have that popcorn machine, you better be bringing some up there.
I figured that was gonna come out, yeah, we'll include you too.
All right. That's about it. Have a great week.
All right, thank you. Jason Smith.
Good morning, Commissioners. As Commissioner Coyle mentioned, Leading Age Conference was just absolutely fantastic, full of inspiration, education, and just networking. We arrived on Sunday and left yesterday. We had quite an event coming home. A passenger got kicked off the plane. The stewardess got in a fight with the pilot. It was quite a scene for sure. So we missed the bus coming home. So it was a late night for us all. But overall, it was a good time. Learned a lot. This morning I walked into, what's that?
I said on the plane or otherwise.
Yeah, right.
Come on.
They didn't show a movie, but you had entertainment. That's good.
Right. This morning I was made aware that Lisa Hewitt, who's our infection preventionist, will be retiring at the end of the year. So I was thinking hopefully she would stay on until spring, but she made the decision. So I received that letter this morning. So I just wanted to make that announcement. So we'll be working with Human Resources to try to find that position to fill with a good candidate. And then tomorrow is Veterans Day. We'll be having a celebration at 2 p.m. here at our community. So that's pretty much it. Status quo for the moment. Thank you.
Right. Thanks, Jason. Kathy Stacy. Morning, Kath.
Good morning. I have Becky in here. So apparently Alice and our chocolates have arrived. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioners. I'm sure the staff is going to be thrilled. You know, we've had a few big sales recently. I know that Chuck knows that because he keeps on top of it and reaches out to me consistently. I know I sent you the information about the 3 largest title companies and their losses this year, which are pretty significant. But other than that, it's smooth sailing, and I'm hoping that today is going to be my last retirement commission meeting. I'm hoping we're going to come up with something to propose to the legislature because we have to have our report in by December 1. So that's my report for today. Thank you.
Interesting.
Yeah, Kathy, we had that $4.5 million transaction in Hampton, right? Like at the end of, oh, geez.
Yeah,
And these are all,
Yeah.
again, and then we have another one at Wentworth by the Sea. Then they're all cash deals.
Yeah,
They're all
cash.
Cash. Boy,
Yeah.
I wish.
I wish I had $4 million cash.
Right?
All right, very good. So I'm gonna go to Leila, see if she's got anything she wants to share.
Good morning. Still working on the postage meter RFP. There's been, we had an online demo last week, which was great, very informative. But with that came a lot of other questions.
Mhm.
So I'm just waiting on one answer from one of the vendors on that, and hopefully I'll make a decision soon.
Thank you for your efforts and your thoroughness in this.
Thank you. And the new website construction has started.
Very good.
Commence. Oh,
All right.
we're seeing the fruits of your training coming through. So thank you for that.
I didn't forget anybody, right? No, we're all set. Okay, so we're gonna move on to new business, old business. Anyone have any new business?
I do.
Okay.
A few things. First, I'd like to point out that I sent an email to commissioners that lists all of the line items that had no backup on the Harvey contract. There's 39 line items. I just want to ask, I believe that we are tying the hands of our finance director by not providing him and Jude with the invoices and Harvey not providing that. And I've got questions on these items and their appropriateness. There's no mention of meals in the contract. I don't understand why we're even thinking about providing meals. We are paying an $11,000 general liability policy every month. I'd like to see an invoice on that. I just, in general, I know you've heard it before, but I just want to point out the 39, there was 2 or 3 mentioned in the minutes that I brought up because last week, because I mean, I just got it the day before. So I was kind of just giving the highlights, but I just want to emphasize there's 39 items here that I'm still looking for invoices for, and I would like us to request Harvey to provide that.
So if I may just
Go ahead.
respond briefly. Let's understand the scope here. We're talking a $1.2 million warrant, and here are the items, including $8.22 from Home Depot. So this is the scale. I want to first highlight the scale of what we're doing. Now, you put in this email so that the county can confirm. Well, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the confirmation or everybody. So we have your concern, I see drop one portables. They cost $220 a month to rent and there's 3 of them, right?
Well, I don't know that because I don't have an
Well,
invoice.
there's 3.
There's 3 line items.
Right.
And I called up Drop One Portables and they said that I just asked how much and that's what they told me.
Okay, now have you driven up to the job site?
I did, and I think there's more than 3 portables up there.
There's
But I have
6.
no idea. There's 6. Okay, so
if
I have no
you-
idea.
but my point is, so I can tell you 6 just from, and this is the point, which is there's 6. They bill them in 2, $150 for a portable. I need to talk to Harvey because I'm paying more than that in our porta potties. I mean, this is a good rate. I think a couple other things, and some of this, you highlighted William Scotsman Inc. We've had this discussion in this room before. You asked about that and Jude explained that this was for the trailer rental. So you're putting this on again when you've already received the answer. I can talk about James Brennan. James Brennan is the estimator for Harvey. We know that. We've heard about him, and this is like costs in terms of when the office, WB Mason, paper and office supplies. I don't need it, and you even included a credit. So that $24 a credit. I mean, $14.99 for office supplies is not something that I need a invoice for. When vendors invoice us for other things, all other things, we don't ask for an itemization of receipts. They invoice us for the total. If they go to get Home Depot and buy a $22 box of screws, we're not invoicing. This $248.72. There was a big group gathering to go over all the doors for security. A number of the department heads attended that, and a bunch of the people from Harvard. They got sandwiches from Rhapsody, no different than we often have here and other places. But the point is, with all these things, if you just ask, go drive up to the job site, go make a phone call. These are things that are good, that Jude, Chuck, you could have called Jason. Jason would have told you that there were sandwiches at that for the security when they have to go over every door, every access point, all the security things for the new building. And Drama's mileage. If you look at the minutes that we received, you'll see on those minutes, she works for Harvey and she was present at the last meeting. Everything, I could continue to go through blueprints. Those are pretty obvious what we're doing, but, or let's talk about the software license. That software license is for a software called Procore. It was one of when we were selecting who we were going to use for building, the use of Procore was an important component. And do you know why? Because that Procore software allows universal access. So the engineer can look at this and coordinate and make sure things like the HVAC system and the plumbing system for it. You don't want your pipes dropping down where you have ductwork coming through, right? So this software, I think everybody here realizes, because we're using ARPA funds, we're talking a very tight timeline in the building industry. And it's amazing what Harvey's going to do. So if we can get some software that streamlines it, gives everyone access for efficiency. And so to the extent that you're saying, I don't know about this, I haven't seen a receipt for this, there's just an easy solution. I'm not saying ask from Harvey, but if you have discussions, if you get involved, if you go to the building site, those are things you can easily get information on. I feel very comfortable when I go through your list and above the 1.2.
This isn't my list. This is what was listed.
This is your list of things that you felt you couldn't identify?
No, this was my list of everything that had no backup. That from the warrant, I went through the warrant, everything that had backup, I eliminated, these are all the items that did not have backup, and you're misstating what my issue is here. I'm not even suggesting that any of these charges are wrong. They're probably all good, and I don't have any problem with what's going on, except that I don't have receipts. This discussion would not be even happening if I had invoices. If we had invoices, we should be checking this, and I can't believe that we don't need to have invoices for all of these items. The software, great. I'm sure it's a good use of money, but I want to see the invoice. The liability insurance, why don't we have an invoice for that? And how do we report to ARPA without putting all these invoices together? They're just gonna accept a line item for all this money?
For the things that are ARPA related, for HVAC, yeah. I mean, you're talking for temporary office, your concern is, a $14.99, you want a receipt for $14.99 at WB Mason. It's like on a $76 million project. And so this is why we have a GMP. We are not Salem. You wanted to bring Gino in for an OBM for the tune of
He's got nothing to do.
$600,000. $600,000. Gino was anywhere, and upward. And we're debating. And again, a lot of these things are identifiable just by a little effort.
I'm not debating these items. I just want to see the invoices. It's poor business practice to not have invoices, to pay invoices without having an
But
invoice.
you don't ask for this on this is not.
It's
how we do
required in the
business.
contract.
It's not how we do business with our vendors.
Well, we're wrong. It's poor business practice and it should change. Government should be
Well-
run the same way the
No,
companies
but the
run.
point is, you keep saying that we don't know. You want invoices. And then when I tell you, yes, it's accountable here, here, and here, then you don't want to accept it.
I want the invoice.
All right, so the only thing that I want to say, because there was a mention of this. And I need to hear from the department heads that were called out here. Because Commissioner Godu said that we're hand tying Chuck and Jude. So I'm gonna ask them, if they feel that they've been hand tied. And you want to do something different than we used to do, the path that we're going through right now. I know I don't want to put you on the spot, but listen, I sort of need to kind of put you both on the spot because. Commissioner Godu mentioned that we're hand tying you guys, and so you're not being able to do your job correctly. So is that how you both feel? Or?
I don't feel that way.
I can't hear you.
No, sir, I don't feel that way. If
Chuck?
I see something that I don't know, I have no hesitation to call. I knew that meals was for that meeting, but nonetheless, I confirmed it the next time we met. So when I have a question on anything, and generally, the questions are answered before I sign off on it and send it across for Chuck's review.
And if you feel comfortable with the path that we're going now, with the
I'm
right
okay.
path.
I'm used to, as far as being on the audit side of things, normally for construction invoices, you're auditing off of the payment request and the schedule of values. That's normally on the audit world as far as what's being looked at. So as far as if the auditors are gonna test it, they'd actually be going after materiality. They'd actually be testing some of the larger ones. So when they test out the Harvey invoice that includes the listing of everything, then they go and test price on a larger individual subcontractor payment request. And then if there was something larger on that separate itemized list that's not supported by a subcontractor payment request, then they would delve into that, and that's covered in the contract that Harvey has to maintain. All support for everything for, I think it's like 3 years after the project is done, I believe.
So.
So no, and actually Jude's my first one I go to ask for anything that's actually on that list that's not supported by a subcontractor payment request.
So do you feel we're hand tying you? Not being able to do your job correctly in finance, according to the bill?
No, because I think that I'm able to ask for other resources. I mean, for example, I think as far as other vendors, like when they put on a freight charge, we don't ask for them for what the, you know, FedEx or UPS quoted amount's gonna be. But again, to me, I'm also looking at somewhat a materiality aspect too, and again, my history as far as in the public world, as far as having done audits on construction companies and some of their, you know, some of their jobs that they had.
And the only other issue I want to bring up is this, you know, in Rockingham County, we do not have a county administrator. That's true. We really rely on the strength of our department heads here in Rockingham County. And, you know, I've said this many times, and yes, I'm gonna be biased, you know, Rockingham County is the best run county in the state, no doubt in my mind. And we have, and one of the reasons are we can rely on the expertise of our department heads here. That's the reason why I asked, because I'm not saying the commissioner gotta do is, you know, has flawed thinking. He's a small business guy and that's how he operates his small business. I get that and I understand that and I understand he's new. There's no right or wrong. The question that I just wanted to clarify was, you know, are we doing something that we need to change? And I'm hearing from my department heads, no, we're doing, you know, what we're on the path of just doing. So I think we're fine. I get it. Maybe it's a little bit frustrating for the newer guy, the newer commissioner. I get that. But I think Commissioner Coyle said it correctly. You know, if he's got questions, he can reach out and ask to get more clarification. So, but having said that, we've had some good discussion here. I'm hoping that there's some clarity as to the list that Commissioner Perdue compiled. I will admit that when he mentioned meals, I did have a concern myself there. We said it because when you say it, without all the details, I did reach out to you. And she called me back right away and she did let me know about the security meeting, which I remember because I actually walked into that meeting. And there was about 60 people there. And so,
I mean, how efficient, they like sat down and hammered through everything in one day, which is.
That was a long day.
It was a long
right.
day,
So,
so.
It was
you know,
good.
Like,
for the 6-hour day and you guys are getting sandwiches, I think that that's appropriate.
like, you know,
And if it wasn't going that way, we would have picked that up on the county side. So I don't think there's anything being mishandled here. I have full confidence in my department. If something was different, I'm sure that they would reach out to us as commissioners to let us know, hey, we need to check into this, or, you know, should have a discussion. You know, I'm very confident, especially knowing the both of you for the last, I want to say, for me, 13 years, whether I was on the delegation side of things or, you know, 3 years as a commissioner. I know the work that you guys do. I know the reputations you have. And I have full confidence that things will be done in a timely manner, and things are always coming up afterwards. Anyway, does anyone else have any other comments? We're going to move on. Did you have something else in the business or was something?
I have more in new business.
Okay, go ahead. Commissioner, go ahead.
Okay. I've come to be aware that Merrimack County has contracted for a solar farm that is similar in size to ours. And they paid 26% less than what we have scheduled to pay. Hillsborough County has a bid in place for a solar farm that is slightly smaller than our solar farm. And it's again about 24% less money. That means that they bought a similar product to what we've contracted for about $2.5 million less than what we should be paying. This job was not bid out. I think it should be looked at. I don't understand why there could be in such a huge disparity in the pricing. And my request is that we ask Harvey to bid this out so that we know that we're getting a good deal.
Okay, so,
I mean, there's a lot, you dropping these percentages without any unsubstantiated with kilowatt, all the data, where it's going. There's a lot of factors that exceed the just pure data piece of data on size. So again, I think, again, we've gone through, this is like, I feel like we're in Groundhog's Day every week with this, but we went to, I had someone that look at these numbers who used to work at Revision, who calculated us, and brought me a significant amount of comfort, and I shared that all with you guys before, so I'm not gonna reinvent the wheel, but it's to drop this without having all of the support data that compares them on a one-to-one is sort of meaningless at this point to me.
Okay, and I'm gonna say a couple of things. Number one, it's an estimate. It's not a final number. What we do know is we're gonna pick up 8,800 panels. That number could be 7 million. And what I don't, and I'm trying to be sensitive here and word it correctly because I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt, Commissioner Godu. We ran against this early on when you released a newsletter to people that you released to, telling everybody that the building was going to be $87 million. Now you've got people thinking it's going to be $87 million, and we come to find out that it's not. It's $67 million. It's a difference of price, and I think by you doing the exact same thing with the solar, saying it's $10 million. Well, we don't know that yet. We haven't purchased those yet. It could be $7 million. We don't know. And you gotta be really careful on the perception that you're giving the public. Because again, I'm gonna come back saying we have the best run county here. There's no doubt. You bring up Merrimack County. And they're a good county. They have half the population that we do. And their budget's $107 million. Rockingham County has got twice the population and $95 million. If there's any county that's fiscally responsible, has a lot of responsibility, is Rockingham County. And again, kudos to the department heads, because it's not a county administrator that's doing this work. It's our department heads that get all that credit. I've looked at the numbers over the last 4 years. It's fantastic. I don't know of any other municipality that's done the work that's shown here at Rockingham County. So I'm just going to caution you, please reel it back just a little bit. Don't mislead people into telling them that we spent $10 million. We don't know that number yet, but that's what I'm going to say.
Okay, so just for clarification, we have a contract for approximately $10 million that's in place. Harvey has a contract. There's a price on the contract. It doesn't say estimate at the top. It says price. So what is the process? When will we know? Is it going to go out to bid, or I don't, as far as I'm concerned, we have bid out the job for $9,958,000. And that's the price that Harvey has for contract. I have a copy of the contract, and we have competitive, and I'll be happy to share the information that I have so that you can see that it's similar, but it's
Similar
significant less. Well, the amount of the Merrimack is actually slightly larger, but they're approximately the same size. And it's
Larger
you
how?
evaluate it by a cost per watt.
But larger how?
We have
Seems like, wow.
4,262 kilowatts DC is what's in our contract. Their contract is 4,801.5 kilowatts DC.
How many, but there's in and out, so that's a difference. There's how many panels, there's the location of the panels, there's all these building costs, right? Whenever you're doing any of these things, there are all these additional costs. Now, in that cost, does that include permitting?
I don't know.
Does it include all of the, the connection issues, the connectivity
I believe it does.
based on what?
I say I have a copy of the contract.
So it does include it,
I believe I saw that it did.
but you're not.
I'm not, no,
Okay.
It's not, this isn't my
No,
business.
my point is,
We didn't bid the job out and we
But
don't know.
your point, no, we do know, because you won't trust what anybody else has to say. You just keep saying we don't know. But what I'm hearing from you is there's a lot of data missing. You're making assertions right now with a lot of data. When questioned specifically on it, you said, I don't know. Where's the site? What are the site conditions? What is ground?
Those are all issues that need to be considered, but with such a disparity of 26%, it would seem to me that it would be worthwhile for us to take a look at how did they buy it so much cheaper than what we're buying it for? And did we really have excess costs because of the site or because of connectivity or some other issue?
Permitting, all those things that were already baked in.
I think that we should be evaluating that, and this brings concern
Well,
to my
we
mind.
did prior.
Conditions. You know, like this is a general building, change in market conditions, lumber. The cost of lumber has changed dramatically, the cost of things. So some of it is when we walk in, right? So what are the cost of those things are all factors. Yeah, sometimes you buy lumber a piece of plywood has ranged, anybody in the building industry has ranged from $50 to $150 in the last few years. So these are all market, there's a large number of variables. And so to try to compare apples to apples is impossible, as I see it.
And then I'm just gonna, I don't know if you have anything else. Sure, but I do want to say one thing, we keep bringing the solar piece up, well, but what I don't hear is the benefit to the taxpayers of Rockingham County. Okay, we're using federal dollars, and federal dollars are taxpayers' dollars, no doubt, there is no doubt. But the ROI, which you're a smart business guy, I know you know that ROI is over $22 million over the next 30 years, a return on investment that the taxpayers of Rockingham County benefit from. Not raising taxes on the solar panel, they're getting all benefit. You choose, and I'm trying to be respectful, and maybe I'm too optimistic, but I tend to look at the benefit side and the optimistic side of things. You tend to look at it a little bit differently. And
I want to save $2 million for Rockingham County.
you're saving
I think we can build
over
this thing for
$12
$2
million
million.
over 30 years.
And it would be 14 if we saved the $2
But
million
why don't you
on
bring that up in
construction.
your newsletters? Why don't you bring that up in this conversation? Because you have a narrative that you want to drive. And you want to make it look like
I want to save $2 million.
is doing everything wrong. And you know better than everybody else because you're the only person complaining, the only person. So what does that tell you?
You're welcome.
I'm not welcome. You represent Derry, right? I'm a Derry resident. I don't think that that's a welcoming cause.
Well-
I think it's, to be honest with you, micromanaging things.
Not at all.
And you know what?
$2 million is not micromanaging.
It's micromanaging, and I mentioned before, the return on investment, you never bring up.
Well, I'm not against the solar program. It is a great return on investment, and I'm glad that we're involved with it.
Okay.
But I'm looking at the construction costs.
But your assertion is completely unsubstantiated at this point.
I don't know.
I just raised all these concerns and you said, I don't know.
I don't have all those details.
Right.
You're right.
Right.
Okay. So I think we've batted this around long enough.
Okay, enough of
Do
that.
you have anything else?
I have one more.
Okay.
We discussed holiday bonuses. And the holiday bonuses were in the budget. Somehow they're in the payroll budget, yet we don't have a line item that says holiday pay. And I'd like to know how much money we're actually going to be putting out for holiday bonuses. And where exactly does that money come from in the budget that we're passing out? Because I don't remember seeing anything that said holiday bonuses.
Sure.
So when we go through the budget process, basically, we have two parts of each department's budget. One is the operating, so that's given out, provided by the department heads themselves. And then as far as payroll and payroll expense projections, I provide those. And they're detailed down to the person as far as for like their base wages. And then we have blocks of other items like overtime, things like that, as far as dollars, because you don't know who exactly is gonna be utilizing overtime. So there are May departments that I budget a block of money that's multi-purpose. And whether it's because some departments make use of per diem individuals for projects that might be going on for short term, or those that have overtime, like in my own department as well. And then also if you have turnover, many of our departments, probably just about all, have seen some turnover in the last, year or two as well. So, and oftentimes this market, sometimes when you hire someone new, you end up having to pay them a higher rate than the person who might have left. And so there's a block of money. So what ends up happening is, yes, there's not a line item in that projection that says bonuses. There isn't. But what department heads have to be in mind that if the commissioners approve this, then, they have lesser amount of a pool of money to go towards per diem projects, towards overtime, towards rates of pay if you have turnover. That's what it's coming from. So, and yes, right now, obviously, in every department, there's going to be an amount available. And again, department heads just have to keep an eye, and I'm going to keep an eye. And so will my assistant director of finance, to make sure that the staff lines are still progressing accordingly and don't need any line item transfers when we get to like the third quarter executive committee review. So there's not any line item that details those bonuses, but it's coming out of the general money that is, intended for, possibly other things. And then
Is that
again,
salary line?
yes, and each one, so each department has like a staff line. Other departments like sheriff's office, and county attorneys, you have more distinct salary lines. Like in county attorneys, you have some that are the regular staff line for admin individuals. You have one for attorneys. You have one for, sometimes by different positions. Sheriff's office, times it's broken up by the admin people, and deputies is their biggest one over there. So it's amongst different lines.
To Commissioner Godu's line, and I'm not questioning the bonus side of things. I'm just questioning whether we should have. Well, maybe we can, I don't know. So I was gonna say a separate distinct line because.
This has been historical. If you go back over 10 years, even farther than that, this is how the board previous to you had denoted that we do that. We are always going to have open positions. We're always going to have
Right.
overtime. We're always going to have that. Each year, Chuck and I talk about it at the beginning of the budget process about, is there a potential? And we kind of put some earmark on that between Chuck and I, and it goes into the budget that way, just so we have a sense. As you know, many departments have openings. This has been a terrible year.
Yeah.
And they have four.
I'm not quite kind of questioning that side of things. I'm more trying to figure out, again, it has nothing to do with the actual bonus itself. I just don't remember discussion on commissioner's budget. I don't remember discussion on this, on the delegation side, talking about any of this stuff. So that's the question that I sort of kind of have that's to his line of thinking that,
We may not have the ability to have in years past. We have not had the ability back many years when we were flat and we were only giving $500 for evaluations and stuff. So there was never any talk. So that's why it's been put in that way
Okay.
historically, because there may be a year where it's very bad and the board says you're holding your line on your budget completely and nothing happens, but we always bring it forward for the board for consideration if there's an opportunity. And the division directors and officials are aware that that's kind of in their budgets. They know of it and they're kind of
Okay.
aware of it. But I mean, that's. I
Fair
was just
enough,
doing it
fair enough.
historically.
The only thing that I would like to say, and I'm not saying my way is the right way, is we're sort of having the discussion now, where maybe we should have had that discussion when the commission's budget was talked about. So we know what that number is, or what it would be.
We did that last year with you when you were here as commissioners. We talked about it and we brought it
Yeah,
forward then.
I don't recall.
Yeah. It's been
It's been
historically
there.
been done. Sorry, I don't
No,
wanna.
no, no.
And-
that's-
and
Just making sure.
And if the wage lines weren't trending
Yeah.
favorably, unfortunately, again, there's a story behind all the numbers. Sometimes they're trending favorably because of open
I understand.
positions.
Any further questions?
And again, if they were not trending, favorably as far as just the sheer numbers standpoint, as far as under budget, then, either a lesser amount or maybe even no, discretionary bonus to be, being requested or promoted or proposed.
Right. The only other thing that and it may not be a concern. Is if we're putting it into a salary line, when you put a salary in line, it affects your benefits line.
No.
If a dollar goes into salary, you need to have offsetting numbers for benefits.
Right, but
SSI.
but this is discretionary, so that it doesn't factor into overtime. It's not a NERS eligible
I'm
compensation.
not talking about when we pay out, I'm
No.
talking about in the calculation of the budget itself. When you're
doesn't-
putting that in and you say to yourself, I'm gonna, we're gonna estimate.
It's already part of the block of money that's already estimated that would be either NERS eligible and would be eligible for FICA.
Because what,
So it's already kind of in there
So,
already.
so my question is, it's not just in one line, it's in salaries, benefits, it's a roll.
no, because
Right, but it's not even estimated that it could have been for overtime, or it could have been for per diem, or it could have been for wage rates of replacement employees due to turnover.
Okay,
So
so the question that was asked, and now what I'm hearing is you could take it from any line that's not expended, really.
well, I mean, it has to be within the applicable
yeah,
Yeah,
lines,
Okay.
but
Further questions?
so
Well, the second part of my question was how much money are we spending?
I thought it was disclosed before, but I'd estimated, maybe it didn't get in time, but 85,000 across. And that's across all the
Every-
departments. I think that was my estimate when I was out of the office last week. Ended up being, I think, $85,050 was my detailed
Yeah, okay.
analysis.
Thank you. Yeah, because there was a discussion on the number and that number is a lot lower, but anyway,
more than a lot. Commissioner Godu was closer.
okay.
That's right, because I said 90, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. You're closer.
That's close too. That's very close
Any other
too.
discussion at all?
I can. give
No, I
credit
just
for
wanted
those.
answers to those questions. Thank you very much for those answers. I understand how you're coming up.
So let's gonna move on to the public forum. I'm gonna ask anybody from the public that wishes to speak. Yes. I see, I'm Tom Tombarello. You growing a beard? I can't.
I think he's gonna
You're on
match it,
mute.
man, look.
Mustache, they on you, go ahead.
No, I think it's just. It's on us. Wait a minute. We're close. You're still muted.
There you go. All right, Tom, go ahead.
You gotta put the volume up too.
No, can't hear you.
Tom,
Can't hear you.
we can't hear you.
He unmuted.
You have to turn the volume up on your computer. No, you muted.
He's calling IT in.
Very,
Gotta be Beckham. He's going Beckham.
back up.
Right?
Problem.
These kids are so happy.
I think he just said, never mind.
That's written.
He's all set. All right. Sorry about that. They're all set, Tom. Anybody else from the public?
Call him in.
I don't see anybody else, but, okay. So, we're gonna go into non-public.
All right.
No.
With that, I move to enter into non-public, return to 91A, colon 3-2 personnel. And
Motion to end non-public.
Second,
Seconded, on the motion, Commissioner Godu,
yes.
Commissioner Coyle.
Yes.
And I vote yes. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day, unless you're staying. There's more work to be done.
then. We've come out of non-public and we had a couple of non-public issues with respect to the Department of Corrections, non-public items. I moved to seal those minutes indefinitely because it could render a proposed action ineffective. With respect, the second issue, we had some issues with respect to long-term care. On the first non-public issue, I moved to seal those minutes for 14 days. And with respect to the second issue, I move to seal those minutes indefinitely because it could adversely affect the reputation of someone other than this.
Motion been made and seconded. On the motion, Commissioner Coyle?
Yes,
Commissioner Godu?
Yes,
I vote yes.
and I move to adjourn.
second,
Motion to adjourn, we are adjourned.
all those in favor?
Yeah.
Yeah.